Alright, hello everybody and welcome to my week 3 battle of the Wave Crash Battlers. My name is Not Quite Cods, and today we are facing off Coach Clover and the Toronto Nuzleafs. So this is going to be the first battle after my team changes. And guys, if you didn't see the pinned comment in my most recent video on the team changes, Landorus unfortunately does have Sheer Force banned. I did miss it. It was in a note on the sheet. One of the other members of the league helped point that out to me, so we will not be able to use Sheer Force, but I still want to keep Landorus because I'm still interested in his potential. I think it'll overall be a better use for me than Crocodile, and as you can see, we are still bringing it here in our week 1. So I want to go over a quick team builder, but obviously before we get started, and the very first thing we're going to see here is our Persimmon. So first of all, we got enough speed to outspeed a Meowscarada with our choice Scarf, as well as a rapid spun min speed Iron Treads, which we did a couple of different stats on that because that's something that we could see if it decides to be bulky. Brunson here, so it's going to be our lead pretty much every single time, and what we switch into pretty much depends on the opposing team comp because there's different things we value more depending on what the opponent wants to bring. Obviously team will be in the bottom corner if you guys are interested, but yeah, so there's a lot of threats in this team such as the Meowscarada and stuff like Iron Treads have a really good combination, but there are some mons that are sneaky. I will preview the team and say that we are not bringing Palafin this week, and the reasoning for that, Walking Wake 4 times this, Colossal if it decides to Terra Grass, which is something that we could see, gets a Steam Engine boost, which will give it +6, and we just don't want that happening. There is also the Walking Wake, which is a 4 times resist, and obviously the Meowscarada will outspeed and kill us most of the time, so there's just a lot of things that threaten Palafin or completely wall it, and therefore I thought bringing a water move or a water move heavy Pokemon such as Palafin itself was just not a very good bring this match. So I decided to go with some of my alternate options such as the Persimmon here, and with Choice Scarf we outspeed pretty much the entire team. We have Iron Head here. I switched between Iron Head and Knock Off quite a few times, but I ended up going with Iron Head because it hit the Frost Blast and could flinch. We could also hit it with Knock Off, but it never had a chance to flinch. And if it is lead spikes Frost Blast, if we can get that flinch off, it can often be crucial. So we just want to keep Iron Head for that reason. I tried stuff like Beat Up, but I was never able to get it to Oko, unfortunately. But yeah, obviously the rest are U-turn, close combat, Earthquake, and me are Terra Ground to give stab to that Earthquake. Ground spam is generally pretty good against my opponent's team, and I just want to be able to hit as hard as possible, so the Simians are always our lead. It could come back in later and help clean up Mons. It's overall very strong, this matchup. And next up we have Landorus, Jeb. So, running a heavy-duty boot set this week. We're not bringing Defog or Rapid Spin. This is going to be a no hazard removal team. Oftentimes our hazards are more important than the opponent's hazards, and they don't really bother us. Spike can be a little bit annoying, but that's why we have answers. And Frost Blast generally does not want to bring spikes just because of how useless it is outside of it. But our Landorus here is a Earth Power U-turn Grass Knot Sludge Wave. Sludge Wave is to hit the various different grass, like hits a few different things on the opposing team. Any sorts of Terra Fairy, hits the Meowscarada. Terra Grass on Colossal is a big one, because if it wants to Terra Grass to try and take an Earth Power, we can pretty much always read it and go for a Sludge Wave. Grass Knot hits the Gastrodon, which pretty much always comes to block Palafin, as it's also very good versus a couple of the other members of this team, and we overall just don't want to have to deal with it. So Grass Knot just being a nice little answer to it is always nice. Running heavy duty boots so we don't take rocks damage. It is one of the heavier rock damage mons of the team, and if we just want to ignore hazards and not remove them at all, I'd rather not take damage. This thing is pretty fast. The main reason that we give it the speed investment is so that it outspeeds things after Tailwind, which we'll get into in a minute when we go more over our Mandibuzz set. But this thing is pretty much able to 2-ko everything on the field, often Oko things, a really good cleanup mon, especially after rocks. Just really scary in general and provides a lot to the team. Next up, give me a second here. I keep on forgetting to do that. We don't need that. But yeah, so next we have our Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz is extremely Fizz-Def, pretty much entirely Fizz-Def, and the reason we are running a Fizz-Def Mandibuzz, Big Pex instead of Overcoat. Overcoat does not help this matchup, and Big Pex just lowers defense lowering, which, you know, could be nice in a couple of scenarios, just guarantees a little more stability. But Mandibuzz here is Knock Off, Roof's U-turn, Tailwind. This thing is a Fizz-Def mon, walls pretty much a lot of my opponent's team, and makes it extremely hard for them to be able to sweep at any point in the game, and Roost will often help us. Knock Off, just to remove opposing items. Oftentimes you see stuff like heavy duty boots to try and be immune to potential hazards, so that's always nice. And it removes some leftovers, so it just knockoff's a really good utility, and it's just a move to hit things with. Roost obviously to heal, U-turn to U-turn out. Actually, I wanted to make one quick change after the last battle. Where is it? One of the lower ones, I guess. Higher. Let's just make that. Do it that. Relaxed. There we go. Minus speed. And the reason that we want it to be minus speed is because we often do not actually want to outspeed things versus the opponent. We often want to tank hits and then heal. And that's especially important when it comes to using tailwind, because if we can tailwind up, if we outspeed something, that can end up being a problem. We often do not want to. We want to tank that hit first and then end up healing. We still outspeed a lot of the time, so in a situation where I need tailwind then roost to get advantage, I can still that as well. I ran some speed calcs on this thing before making that change, but that ends up being extremely important this battle. If we tailwind, we want to tank a hit immediately afterwards, and we don't want any Pokemon coming in taking damage, because this thing can often tank 2 hits from something like a Meowscarada. And we have more answers to that later on. But Tailwind really allows this team to excel. Mons like Landorus, a pre-agility Latios, and even in certain situations, a Magnezone can outspeed and get more off after a Tailwind. And being able to control the tides of a battle like that are just something that's super duper important when it comes to this team. I really like the speed control it offers. We obviously have enough speed to outspeed things outside of Trick Room as well, and we have, or sorry, not Trick Room, Tailwind as well, and we have our Choice Scarf for Simeon. So overall, we play around a lot with speed this battle, as my opponent does have some faster mons like Iron Moth, and you can use booster energy on both the Iron Moth and the Treads, and then there's also like Meowscarada. So I didn't really like the speed going into this, so I more wanted to toy around with the speed and make it annoying for my opponent to really get that momentum, the speed they might want to get. Maybe throw them off their tempo, and oftentimes that's what I was able to do. But yeah, so overall, heavy duty boots just to be immune to hazards again, and this one's just a really good support for the rest of the team. Next up, we got Magnezone. Magnezone is here because there are a couple of mons on the opposing team, such as Staraptor or Meowscarada, that can often cover bring a coverage move to attack whatever wants to wall it. Magnezone pretty much always guarantees we get at least one wall in, because it resists everything except for like Brick Break on Meow and Close Combat on Staraptor. So we have the Chople Berry to guarantee that we live those hits with enough Biz Def, Speed F HP to live that type of stuff. Speed investment, I forget exactly what it's outspeeding, but it is that for something specific. Enough special attack to deal damage. Thunder Wave, just helps us in certain scenarios, cripple mons, paralyze them a little bit. Body Press is a really good way of hitting the Meow if it wants to stay a dark type, and it's just a good option as well, so that we can hit on both sides. Flash Cannon is probably the most consistent stab, was offensive Steel Stab, and Volt Switch is there to pretty much, you know, keep our switching out. We don't do it too often because there are potential ground types like a Gastrodon, but it does force play. It is good late game if we can remove the Gastrodon nice and early with one of our Grass Knot mons. And then Thunder Wave can also help shut down mons like that too. So overall, this thing is good at just controlling. It's a damage control mon. This thing is always able to stop a couple of mons in their tracks and be able to provide a lot towards the team. We have Latios here, Landon. This mon is very good this battle. I don't think it's enough. Right? I'm not crazy? Yeah. Okay. EV's a little low for a minute there. But this thing is very strong this battle. I know I brought Weakness Policy Agility already. I'm bringing it again. Didn't really get the chance to shine that first week, and I like it again this week. Really good sweeper in a lot of scenarios. There's a lot of mons that think they can kill this and then actually can't. With that Weakness Policy, we don't even need to Agility up in certain scenarios. I obviously like it because it boosts our stored power a little more. But there are certain scenarios where this thing can actually come in and get a kill with either a Grass Knot or an Aura Sphere. On mons like the Meowscarada or the Iron Treads and the Gastrodon, which is big. It has coverage moves to deal with all that. And after a Tailwind, you are able to actually get a little bit off and bluff potential items. So that's always something really useful out of a Latios, get high damage off. And if, you know, we do need to stop, this is a very potent setup sweeper with agility and weakness policy. Our sword power goes up to about 180 base power, which is obviously super strong. Or no, 140 base power, sorry, which is really strong. And the combination of that, Aura Sphere and Grass Knot, are all very strong. Give me a second here. Oops, that's annoying. All right. So we'll be getting started in a minute here. But yes, so obviously we have all the tools to be able to properly sweep with this thing. It's pretty much our only sweeper on this team, as most of our mons here are just getting damage off as soon as they are given the opportunity and are helping check other things on the opposing team. And then we have our Quagsire here, Blobby. Blobby is here to deal with that Walking Wake. That Walking Wake is a big threat. With Terra Steel and Water Absorb, we don't always Terra our Pessimian. So we need to Terra versus a Walking Wake. We have Terra Steel and Water Absorb, which allows us to 1v1 a Walking Wake always. Toxic's just good for wearing down mons. Stealth Rock, there are certain comps of the team that are a little more offensive. We want to punish them with a Stealth Rock. Rock Tomb is just my most accurate way of hitting stuff and slowing. More speed control annoyance. The team, like I said, really plays with the speed control element to help throw our opponent off their game. Recover to keep healthy. And our EVs are there to live and then do a little bit of damage to that Staraptor. Rock Tomb does about half, but that's good enough because we pretty much already walled it by this point. And if it wants to close combat us, most of these things bring a band, and we can switch it in on something like, I don't know, like when we have a Latios or something, or a Scarf. But in the case we do end up Rock Tombing it on a switch-in or something, or we tank a hit and then Rock Tomb, because we always leave at least one close combat, the speed lowering should be enough for something else to come in, either the Pessimian or some other mon, to be able to kill it and punish it. So overall, our team plays around with the speed element to be a heavy punish heavy team. We're able to tank pretty much everything, chip away via different hits and Stealth Rocks throughout the battle, and while it may take us a little bit to get going, I have pretty much tested this team a few different times with a few different people, and over multiple matches, I've just figured out that this is the best way to run it, as it really throws the opponents off tempo, and it's the best way of covering pretty much everything. I'm hoping that the lack of Palapin will throw them off at least a little bit, even though it is quite bad in this matchup, and I think it's pretty easy to see that. I tested versus everything. I was even scared of like a Terra Merilloetta, which is a very scary mon in draft. Alright, we're back. About to start the battle here. My opponent will be challenging me in a minute. I forgot to log in, but now that we're all logged in and ready to go, we're going to start our battle here. So hopefully it goes better than last week. I'm feeling a lot better about our team this week. I got a lot more practice in. Just felt a lot more comfortable in my team building. And overall, I like my matchup this week. My opponent is 2-0. I forgot to mention that. Clover is one of the 2-0 teams remaining in the league. So I am, a little worried about that. Shows that quite the talented battler, but hopefully, there we go. Yeah, hopefully we are able to win this. That is not the correct team. That is last week's team. Should be week 3. Here we go. All right, and let's see. So first thing we see this battle, we do see the Colossal. So I'm really happy to see the Colossal because I am not worried about it at all. We have prepped perfectly, though there is a Merilloetta too, which means that thing could Terra. I'm assuming we're actually probably going to see Terra Merilloetta, considering that there's really no reason for Colossal to be here other than potential hazard setting. We're always going to leave Pessimian here. I just kind of want to gauge the team. I think Stealth Rocks are really important. These 3 mons right here, big on rocks. So I think I'm pretty much always going to go U-turn into Quagsire, depending on the lead. Lead Frostlass can be annoying. But yeah, so overall, I'm liking the way this leads. And first things first, we immediately see a Meowscarada. I'm gonna wish good luck to my opponent. And we're going to go off. I haven't been great about that. Oh, can I that's good enough. I'm going to U-turn, turn 1. So we get a lot of momentum off here immediately, which is huge because we get to pretty much a free U-turn here on the Meow. We could kill it turn 1. If it outspeeds us, then we know it is Scarf. It is a Scarf Meowscarada. So that's the very first thing we see this battle, and we get a lot of information here. He has no clue that I am Scarf. And we get Initiative here, which is huge. We see the Frostlass come in. So off rip here, I could just go Blobby, probably. This thing could set up spikes, though. It's a pretty free... Oh, no Gastrodon, I'm just realizing, is really huge. That's absolutely huge. So this does nothing to a Magnezone here. We have a pretty free click in Flash Cannon, and I don't think there's any reason to do any over predicting here. I could like Volt Switch on the Iron Moth, but I think we have switch-ins to it at this point in terms of our Quagsire, as we have not ended up Terraing yet. And I don't know if I'm actually even going to need Endure. So this thing is Endure, Cuss, Stat, Berry. So we're pretty much always going to tank this. I don't know what this thing is going to want to do in terms of that Endure, Cuss, Stat, but I don't think there's any way of it killing me. It might just be going for a guaranteed spike in case we are Scarfed. but we're gonna Volt Switch here. So here's the Cuff Step Berry, and it's just going to be a Shadow Ball here. So we tank that hit. Frostlass is dead, which means that there is no spikes. I Volt Switch out here, and I get Initiative here. So I like Rocks. I'm just going to go Quagsire. I think it walls pretty much anything that wants to come in here. I could also go Mandibuzz here and set up a Tailwind. But I just don't want to get stuck in versus something like the Colossal. I'm actually, you know what? No, I can just go back into Passimian here, because Passimian gets a pretty free hit. Close Combat's extremely free right now. So I'm just going to go back into Passimian, and we just get to U-turn. So I'm keeping the momentum up pretty early this game, which is good. We see Staraptor here. So Staraptor could outspeed us if it is a double Scarf. So I don't want to risk that. So I'm just going to go right back into Magnezone and double. Just fearing the Scarf here. And we are going to see a Brave Bird here. We eat this pretty easily. If it wants to close combat, we should be able to live Volt Switch here. But I'm almost feeling more of a Flash Cannon angle. No, I think Volt Switch is the safe play. I don't think there's any reason to do anything else. And we see him go into the Coal. So this is perfect. We just get a nice little Volt Switch off here. Close combat and Passimian is very free. I really like that right now. So I'm just going to go back into Passimian. We're going to get a close combat off here, which should kill pretty much anything. Not kill everything, but it's going to do a lot of damage to anything that really wants to come in here. Even the Iron Moss will probably take about 40%, just because it's not very good physically defensive. So I like our positioning early this game. And so far it looks like I really could have brought Palafin, but I mean, still something like the Colossal could counter it, and Meowscarada is annoying for shit. So we are able to get it. This is going to do a lot here. We're going to see the Cork Drive speed, so this thing might not have the highest special attack, which is nice. I don't think it's able to beat a Clodsire that hasn't Terra'd. And that did 41%, so this thing's not very physically defensive. So yeah, I think Pre-Terra Quag is good here, and this is my opportunity to get up Rocks. This thing can have Energy Ball, which is obviously a concern. So I think I have to Terra Steel at this point. I don't think I have much of a choice, because I just don't want this thing Energy Balling. This thing is definitely a little bit of a problem, but I think it's fine. I could just Rock Tomb, like Terra Steel Rock Tomb. I think it's a pretty safe play. Like, it covers pretty much everything. Do I need Terra Ground on this? I don't think so, because I like Close Combat Stab better than Earth Ground Stab anyway, so I think I can just use my Terra here, and that walls the rest of the team better. So I'm just going to use my Terra Steel here. Yep, and there's the Energy Ball. We're going to get a Rock Tomb off. This thing actually pretty low defense. This might kill. It does not, and the Spidef drop's annoying, but this is fine. It's now minus speed, so the booster energy probably brings it down to normal 350. I could sack Magnezone here. I don't think I need it at this point. No, I could still use it. It's annoying. No, I think I can sack Mag at this point. I think we know this thing is Scarf, so it's pretty easy to read, and Scarf Triple Axle gets walled by this thing pretty hard. This thing pretty much walls anything that Magnezone wants to do, and I'm not super scared of this thing. It's at 93 HP. I feel like I can kill it at this point. So I'm just gonna sack Magnezone here. Cool with me. And now that this thing is booster energy speed, we just get a free close combat off with Passimian again here. So it allows me to bring in Passimian and claim in a lot of damage here. So I think that ends up being worth it. Magnezone doing exactly what it was designed to this battle. Just help ward off Mons. I definitely am still a little scared of a couple of things in the team at this point, but I'm feeling pretty good here about it. Passimian looking really, really good this game now that Frostlass is dead. Close combat spam is just so nice. And no spikes. I do want to get up Rocks pretty badly. Just decentivize the switching a little bit here. I just wanted to be careful here versus Iron Moth, because it can be a problem. But, you know, my opponent really thinking about this here. I think this pretty much gives... Oh, you know what? They might be thinking I'm bluffing a Scarf here. But this pretty much gives away that I'm Scarf Passimian, which I'm fine with. Yeah. Okay. So we get the kill here. The question is if there's Scarf Staraptor or not. Which, just by the way they're using it, I feel like they are running dual Scarf Staraptor. Meow. Which is fine. Could this thing even sweep at this point if I get an agility off? I feel like it might be able to. So I might go Quagged and double into Latios and attempt to sweep here. Let's just see. U-turn. Okay, this is fine, actually. I'm gonna get rocks up, I think. At this point, I'm not super scared of any hazards. So I think just getting rocks up to prevent this thing. We can also check for boots and stuff is pretty important. Here comes Meloetta. This thing can be really scary. But we pretty much always wall it with our Mandibuzz. That's one of the things it's in for. So I can tank any hit. Psychic does 30%, lowers our speed F, but that is fine. Because we are just going to immediately switch into our Mandibuzz here, which always walls this thing. And with this now, our rocks are up, which means it's just a little annoying for the switch. We end up tanking that. I could go for knockoff here, which I think is probably going to get us the most mileage. We could take a hit from anything, then Tailwind afterwards. And Tailwind right now into Landorus looks really strong. I could probably just raw Tailwind here, actually. I'm kind of liking raw Tailwind. Okay, Terra Fairy. So we're going to get Alluring Voiced here. Fine with me. Yeah, I could sack Mandibuzz and just go Landorus, right? No, I might not kill yet. Yeah. Is this fine to... Do I like Mandibuzz late game? It's a bit of a rough scenario here. I mean, we can check to see if this thing's max speed. I'm just gonna knock here, and it's not. We get rid of the item. It is leftovers, so it will not heal here. Attempts to Calm Mind, which is absolutely huge. Because now we know pretty much what this thing wants to do. We are faster than this, which is slightly annoying. So I do feel like I actually have to sack this. So I'm just going to Roost and sack it, because that is definitely what is best for us here to do. And we're just going to go raw Iron Head with Pissimian here. Should kill, 339 attack. I think this thing is pretty offensive. I'm not super worried about this here. I mean, this mon is definitely annoying. Do we kill? We do not get the flinch. Get the flinch. No. Okay, so Pissimian's gonna go down here. This is a bit of a rough spot. Tailwind is gone. Shoot. We could get swept by this. It didn't have any way to beat Quagsire from what I saw. And if we get a Rock Tomb here, we can always outspeed. Okay. I think we can win with Latios here. We do live. Okay, perfect. This is what we wanted. I could have... Oh, you know what? I should have recovered. 106. I should have recovered because I could have stalled that thing out a little more. That's fine, though. All right, we killed this thing. Always. And I think it's just safer to go Landorus here because I'm not trying to... Like, right... It's coming down to an endgame here. I probably shouldn't have sacked Pissimian. I probably should have just gone right into lobby. Oh, this thing coming in's a little interesting. I don't know what this wants to do. Oh, you know what? It wants to Terra Grass. Oh, no, he terred that. So never mind. I'm just going to go for Earth Power. And we do kill it, which is a really interesting here. Is he maybe not carrying Triple Axle and Meow here? Either way, I think I U-turn to preserve this, right? Or U-turn this most of the time. I'm just going to see. Misses the Triple Axle. Oh, that's huge. That's absolutely huge because we get so much chip on this. That's a really unfortunate miss. I'm sorry to my opponent there. Does he connect the others? Okay, he does. He gets a crit. I am defense boost here. This is rough. I could lose on this turn, depending on what happens. We know this thing is Choice Scarf, so it might not hit the hardest. All comes down if my EVs are enough to live this Triple Axle. We'll always outspeed after an agility here. So it pretty much always comes down. And he misses. Oh my god, I'm so sorry to my opponent here. So with that speed, that's now enough to beat the Raptor afterwards, guaranteed. GG's to my opponent here. Sorry about that, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Stealth Rocks, no boots. We always outspeed here. Sword Power is 60. We have 350. Yeah, this thing's not bulky, and it's just our best option. I'm just gonna Sword Power here. We actually do not die. U-turn's gonna activate our weakness policy. This thing, we're pretty sure at this point is just Raw Scarf. I don't think we're going to be seeing Quick Attack on a non-heavy duty boot set. And yeah, GG's. So 1-0, a lot closer here than what we wanted. But just going to give a GG to my opponent. We do manage to take a win over the 2-0 team. Not as clean. I think I maybe could have played the Pissimian a little better. It's just such a big threat. I think I threw it away. But we were able to clutch it out there. Again, pretty much only lost to Hacks, which considering how badly we got Hacks last week with the crit, I think it's a little bit of justice, but I apologize to my opponent. played probably better than me there. That Terra Fairy Meloetta was about as scary as I thought it would be in testing. I should have kept the Magnet Zone around a little longer to wall it, but yeah, that's gonna be it to my opponent. Once again, GG's. Sorry about the hacks, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. So have a good day, everyone.